and on YouTube. So for those of you for the latecomers, they will have a chance anyway to watch it online. We also okay. So I would also like to acknowledge the National Book Development Board who sponsored this event, who made this event possible. Thank you so much. We'll have a chance to hear from them in a bit. But at a glance, you can find the entire program here those are from 10:30 up until 4 p.m. Alright. So again, thank you so much, and I think you all can let us know if you need anything. There's some food at the back. I would recommend to grab some. Okay, and we'll start in a few minutes. Okay, so we're going to jumpstart the Cebu leg of ET Popcorn 2.0. So once again, welcome to Park Mall. Thank you very much, Park Mall, for making this event possible, as well as to big thanks to National Book Development Board. And as you all may already know, we already started this event a couple of days ago online because this is a hybrid event. We started day one with online, and then day two was held in Davao and Ilocos. So we were also present in Cebu Lit Fest yesterday. Uh, and I also would like to acknowledge, no, this was made possible by the Indie Pub Collab PH as well, the Indie Pub Collab. So we are a group of 20 publishers, maybe more than that. So we are, we're all over the Philippines, from the north to Manila, to Central, Visayas, all the way to Mindanao. Okay, so yesterday we had that event in University of Northern Philippines, Vegan City, and then the big house in Davao City. And so, yeah, well, today it's a whole day event for Cebu. Okay. Um, I also would like to acknowledge Cultural Center of the Philippines Intertextual Division. They also helped in making this event possible. Okay, so may I call on our representatives from the National Book Development Board, firstly to explain the benefits of what they've been doing for the past several years have really helped a lot. Like really helped a lot of publishers, of writers. Yeah, so come in. We're just preparing the presentation. So I hope nakapag-register tayong lahat as an author or as a publisher. No, there are tons of benefits that only NBDP can do. The registration for NBDP will be explained later, but it's online. Okay.
Hello everyone, good morning, and we thank the organizers of the Indie Popcorn too, especially to the members mentioned before. Thanks for inviting us here. And my name is Arvin Sia, and together with me is Miss Allison, our communications specialist. Uh, I'm under the Business and Trade Development Division of the National Book Development Board, and I'm here to talk about basically about the NBD. So more than NBD, we serve the publishing value chain. So from the creation of books, from the distribution, from the printing, up to yeah, the distribution, that's the publishing value chain. So we serve all of those people and enterprises involved in book publishing. So the National Book Development Board is the book authority of the Philippines, as our executive director would always say, and we are the leading catalyst for building a culture of reading and authorship, as well as set an environment for the growth of the Philippine book publishing industry. So we are created under the Book Publishing Industry Development Act, or the Republic Act number 8047, and some of our grants, incentives, or our services is to provide incentives, yes, subsidies and programs for creators and publishers, such as this event book. So we supported this event, and then to create and produce more quality Filipino books. So that's our mandate to really promote the Filipino author books. Enhance business opportunities in the domestic and international markets. So we do regional book fairs. We have a select multi-week event. Today is the Cebu Lit Festival Box, Ayala Center Cebu. And we also held Bicol Book Festival, the Zamboanga Book Fair. We also had the Iloilo Mega Book Fair before. And then we attend international book fairs, the one in Frankfurt, Germany. We also attended the Sharjah International Book Fair in UAE and the London International Book Fair in uh, United Kingdom. Okay, next one is we provide more wider market access for Filipino books and content for the public, and research, document, and provide solutions for the publishing industry. For this service, we have the Department of Education, since we are an attached agency of the Department of Education. So we help them do the policy work when it comes to the production of learning materials for the schools in the Philippines. Next one. So this is our services, the grants, education. We have this the Book Institute of the Philippines. So we provide capacity training to individuals and as well as for enterprises. We also have the trade promotions such as these book fairs. We also conduct research, incentives, and subsidies. For incentives, we have the tax and duty-free importation. We provide fiscal and non-fiscal incentives to enterprises and leadership po. For the leadership, we have this project. It's actually our main project in the National Book Development Board. It's the Book Nook, where we provide several reading spaces across the Philippines. So as of today, we have 88 book sites. So from the province of Abra up until the province of Cavite, we have a book site. Next slide. Next one. So it is a collage of what we have done now. So this one, these are the book nook sites, and then we also conduct book awards. We have the National Book Awards, and we also have the National Children's Book Awards. Next one, po. Our RA 8047 under the section 6, persons and enterprises engaged in book publishing and its related activities are registered with the National Book Development Board. So all authors, all literary educators, subject matter experts, we also have graphic designer, we also have editors, and for enterprises, we have publishers, printers, book industry associations. All are encouraged, again, encouraged po. You are not required naman, but are encouraged to register with the National Book Development Board. Why? Because under the section 12 of our RA 1847, or the incentives for book development, all registrants under the National Book Development Board are entitled to the applicable fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. Once again, those are our services that we provide to everyone. So if you're not registered with us, I'm sorry, but we really can't provide you support. Next slide, please. Who can register? We register enterprises and individuals. Under enterprises, we register book publishers, book exporters, also importers. We also register booksellers, book printers, industry association, and manufacturer of raw materials used in book publishing. So these are the ones who manufacture like papers, inks, what else? Ribbons, all everything that form part of a book. So they are the manufacturer of raw materials. So for individuals, we have author writer, designer, editor, educational technologist, illustrator, a librarian, literature educator, publishing specialist, subject matter expert, and translator. So if any of you guys are one of these individuals, we encourage you to register with us. Next slide, please. For 2023, we kind of wanted to increase the registrants under the literature educators and the subject matter experts. Why? Because the DepEd has organized a team actually to review the learning resource materials for the next school year. Next slide, please. What are the requirements? For enterprises, we have a list of requirements. So they are medyo madami po. They are quite many, but for individuals, we only have five. So for the individuals, you have to um, accomplish the online registration form because we receive registration applications online na po. And then two valid IDs, bio note, list of works, and of course your proof of work because we have to check your any proof that you are, for example, an author. Okay, let's go. So you may visit our website, it's the booksphilippines.gov.ph, where you will see on top of our website we have the e-registration. It will directly um, go to the online application form for registration. Next slide. I'm sorry if it's quite small, but these are the emails of each of our services. For example, we have the incentives, we have the TADP at books.gov.ph. So if you would like to organize a fair like this, you will email book fairs at books.gov.ph. And for registration and accreditation, you may contact the registration at books.gov.ph. And many other emails po that will connect you to the National Book Board. That's it. Okay. So that's all po. And we'd like to play a video po sana what the MPDB is all about. Thank you. We still have viewers today, but they come in the future.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm good. I'm here in Velasquez. It's a nice meeting. I'm happy to have all the support.
We're now ready to move on to our second book, which is Broken Islands by Cassandra Young. As a writer and publisher, you have the power to change the life of every child.
Each one of us, so amalgam of all of the people in life.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. Thank you, the National Book Development Board. We're doing amazing things in the publishing industry, the book industry. Not just that. The thing is, while we enrich the literary community or the publishing industry in the Philippines, we're also enriching or we're trying to improve the literacy rate of the Filipino people. And I think that's really the main goal. We want to educate people with the books that we release out there. And of course, as writers, this is actually a big responsibility because it means, I know, something like as what Spider-Man would say, now, with great power comes great responsibility. And promoting the kind of promoting that is actually a very powerful tool. Okay, so yeah, so just be careful with what we're putting out there. Whatever we put out there, they're making a big difference. Okay. All right. So for our next uh, segment, okay, we'll talk about or we'll celebrate Cebuano writers' diversity, and we'll have Mitos, Suson, and Velasquez. But before that, let me introduce them to you guys. Okay. So firstly, Cindy A. Velasquez. So she's an associate professor at the University of San Carlos. She received a National Commission for Culture and the Arts grant for Basamanang Kanunay. The podcast she produces and hosts, which features Bisaya poets and their works. Her forthcoming projects include an illustrated children's book, which aims to preserve the ethno-medicinal practices and knowledge of the Ati community in Eastern Cebu province. And the anthology she edited, Dagat is Sinaputi. Did I pronounce that right? Translating contemporary Cebuano poetry. Also, a lyricist, Velasquez, and her co-composer, Jude Dicabondog, won the 43rd Dawat Urian Awards for Best Music for the song Usang Kalibo o Usang Kanamit, 1001 Goodbyes in 2020. Her first poetry collection, Nawas, or Bali, was published in 2016, while her second poetry collection, Your Soul is Whole, a collection of photo haiku in Tokyo and Yamagata, was released just this year. So that is Miss Cindy Velasquez. Let me also mention something about Miss Vito Suson. Miss Vito Suson was born and raised on the island of Cebu in the Philippines. She has lived in Germany, Chile, and the United States. Adorable, a dictator, a dad is her debut memoir, a healing journey that reflects upon the confusion of childhood under martial law. I read this book in the Philippines, the impact of her father's arrest as a political detainee, and the disintegration of her sheltered family's privileged life. She graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree majoring in history, and she has returned to her roots in the Philippines and produced her second book during the pandemic, a creative nonfiction memoir, Shards of Time, a memoir. Recently, Quarantine Wisdom and Other Absurdities was published. It's a compilation of her blogging during the quarantine period. So maybe from Miss Mitos Suson and Miss Velasquez. Okay, so welcome, Miss Mitos and Miss Cindy. Thank you, everybody. So we have two Cindy here, don't get yourself confused. Okay, so I prepared several questions for them to answer. Okay. Okay, the goal of this talk is to dive into Cebuano literature and give its definition to both Cebuano and non-Cebuanos. This will cover what are currently available and its target audience and ways on how to find more Cebuano works. Okay, so my first question for both of you: despite being born in Cebu and speaking in Cebuano, the products of your work have different tones, agendas, and language, etc. So, why do you think it's crucial for Filipinos to learn about the Cebuano literature? Uh, shall we start with Professor?
So, hi, Bunta, good morning. Basically, my projects, they are intended for the indigenous people, particularly the Sama Badyaws in Mambaling, Alaska, and then the Ate, these are the Lipitos, but the Lipitos, if they are from Luzon, we call them Aita, but if you will migrate here in Panay or Visayas, we call them Ate. The Sama Badyaws, by the way, they are just called Sama. That's their internal definition of themselves. It's actually the external us who call them Bajaus. So what happened is that the reason why I wanted to make books about the different indigenous people in the Philippines is because if you try to look at them right now, they are voiceless. And then I'm trying to, my very best, that hopefully that they will be represented in the children's book. Because if you try to look at children's book, it's English, it's in Filipino. We cannot find black skin, we cannot find the curly hair, we cannot find the Sabu Bagyaos, their love for water. So in this case, the publication that I'm doing is not just for the preservation of the language, because the language I'm using for all the books, there's the Cebuano Bisaya, but it's also intended for the preservation of their culture. So technically, all those things, they are for community extension service. So it's important that we will not just write about Cebu, but who are the people in Cebu where it really needed the voice.
Um, yeah, Cebuano culture is very rich in history, and it's so important for the people to know about Cebuano culture. You know, like first of all, that Magellan came in 1500. By the way, I'm a history student, so give them a bit of Cebuano history, and I'm very proud of it. You know, so Magellan discovered the Philippines in 1500, and a lot of people didn't even know that. They didn't even know he died here. You know, so aside from Magellan, who discovered, you know, like he actually circumnavigated the world, and much of our history was brought to Spain. You know, it was written in Spanish. And aside from, you know, like Cebuana culture, you know, that was, at that time there was even that baptism when the Cebu was the cradle of Christianity, you know, at that day, that contact and baptized. And these people didn't know that either, you know. And so that's important because the culture of Cebu, like the Sinulo, was originated from this, you know, they don't know what Cebu is all about, but it's like, it's big, you know, so it's important that they know because Cebuano literature is so much of Cebuano culture. I mean, yeah, history too. And then of course, Lapu-Lapu. He was the first warrior and first rebellion, you know, so people need to know his name. Like, he needs to ring the bell in history that, you know. So I believe that it's so important for Filipinos. Also for me, I love history that that they know what Cebu is all about, our culture and our history.
Okay, so actually you already answered my question. My next question, which was supposed to be, what is so unique about being Cebuano? Yeah, so would you like to add?
I would like to add also with what Mom Mitos mentioned about the Cebuano history, because during the pandemic, there's the story that I wrote about Santo Niño, but I'm not sure if you're familiar that there's a hubo ritual. Are you familiar with this one? That will happen like after the Sinulog festival. It's what we call the undressing of the Santo Niño as a representation of the humility of Christ. He will take the entire clothes and then have it in a very simple. So I decided to create that story for children alone because unfortunately not all people we know about that tradition. And if you're going to trace the history of the Hubog Festival, it originated after the 16th century when the Spaniards came to the Philippines, but it was created by the Babaylads. And then eventually, right now, there are already women who are doing that one in the first place, and they will have it like inclusive alone. So, hindi nila pinapakita yung ginagawa. Pero ngayon, iba yung evolution nila kasi ngayon yung Hubo Festival, ginagawa na nila mismo sa misa or during after the Santo Niño event.
New knowledge for every one of us. So this one is for Miss Mitos. In all the memoirs that you wrote, why is it that you chose to write in English? Like many Cebuano writers out there. So would you see yourself writing in Cebuano dialect in the future?
I do have it's English, but I actually intercepted a lot of Visayan words and Cebuano words. And I can imagine, yes, but I probably need to go to school just to learn the grasp that Cebuano language. Because when I was growing up, my father was Cebuano, but my mom was from Tarlac. So she already could not speak Visayan or Cebuano. And we always laugh at her when she makes mistakes. And my father, my grandparents, they spoke Spanish. And so my father was like mixed. He would speak English, and then we would laugh at my mother who tried to speak Visayan, and then I went to school in St. Teresa's, and at that time they were fining us for speaking in Visayan. We had to speak English, otherwise we would be fined. And then of course when I moved to UP from St. Teresa's, I went to high school in UP, and everybody was laughing at me like, hey, you can't even speak the language, you're so plastic, why you keep on speaking English? So I was getting like very confused, and even my daughter, my husband, Mom, why are you like teaching us Cebuano? I said, well, because only one region can understand you. If you go to Manila, they won't understand you, or they'll laugh at you. I have many friends, who I grew up with, and Savannah is very proud, and he's like, yeah, they speak perfect English, but you speak to them in Tagalog and they will refuse. They will just laugh at our accent. So I don't know, there's a stigma. So I feel like I don't totally grasp the Cebuano language. I might have to go to school for that, and then I've been interjecting a lot of Cebuano words in my memoir, because we can't, especially English words. But I can imagine in the future maybe children's book, because it's for me also baby steps to really to write and so on. I hope you answered that question.
Wow, from writing a memoir to writing fiction.
So
That's good. So I think that explains a lot on that diversity. We can write in many genres. We are very flexible. So for me, Cynthia, so since you're teaching Cebuano literature at the University of San Carlos, could you evaluate on what's currently available Cebuano literature out there?
When we talk about the word Cebuano lit, it's also dealing with Cebuano writers writing in English. and also Cebuano writers writing in Cebuano. But do not also look at it as Cebuano early here in the Visayas, because we also have Cebuano authors in Mindanao regions. So going back to the question of Ms. Cindy, so uh, I would like to mention a little bit of the reason why I started to write in Cebuano language alone after graduation in college. It's because I had a teacher, her name is Dr. Erlinda Alburo. She's the former director of the Cebuano Studies Center at the University of San Carlos. And during that time, poetry was the height of the Cebuano poetry. There were a lot of contemporary writers. I even would like to share like one poem from Vicente. But can I talk in Cebuano? Okay. You have to answer this question first before I'll perform a little short poem. Ikapilang mamatay ang buwak. How many times a flower will die? Ikapilang mamatay ang buwak. Say, anybody? How many times a flower die? Ikaw sa? Dili. Ikaduhang mamatay ang buwak. Una, inikuha nimo sa sanga. Ikaduha, inikhatag nimo sa tao ng imong gihigog mo og may kasiyatiti ko na tawagon. So that's one of the reasons. Mentality. I will translate that for these people because people did not understand. So how many times a flower will die? Twice. First, when you cut it from its stem, and second, when you give it to the person that you love the most, and the person will say, "I cannot accept that." Although the cheese might be a little bit, there's a change in translation when you do it. So anyway, going back to the question of Miss Cindy, the main reason why I really wanted to do or to write in Cebuano because it was the height of the Cebuano language or Cebuano poetry at the time. But I had a big issue because even right now, I'm still learning how to use the language. Similarly with you, ma'am, I'm still learning the Cebuano language. It's very difficult. The grammar is difficult. That's why I even ask or request people to edit my own work. Now, the reason why I wanted to use the language over time, or even until now, is because it's for preservation. We don't have any, we cannot have people, oh, you write Cebuano, you do this one. We cannot do that, we cannot force that. And you can only probably tap somebody who can write Cebuano very well. That's why it's important that we have to teach Cebuano literature in universities. The bad thing is that the Cebuano literature is only an elective in the university. It's not a course, it's a course, but it's elective. So that's the difficult part, that's the reality that even if you want to pursue and preserve the language, you have a lot of difficulties because it's very difficult for other people to acknowledge also the language. And look at you right now. When we go outside, for example, I'm a Cebuano, we don't talk in street Cebuano. Sometimes we talk in cities. It's Cebuano English. That's why even if you look at yourself, I am a Cebuano, it's not as simple as saying I can talk in straight Cebuano. There are times you cannot do that one. That's the reality. That's why it's important for us to revisit our culture and study it, but also to the help of literature and also with the help of history.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Again, new information to all of us, and I hope we can read more of the poetry is one, and also more of memoirs or creative nonfiction from the students. So my next question naman, well, okay, to be honest, well, also to add to this CV though, I would describe myself as a fake Cebuano. Just like I am half Cebuano. But I grew up in, my mom would speak Cebuano, but then, because I grew up in Cavite, but I had that Cebuano's, she's a very brave and strict woman, and I would just say it's because she's from Cebu. Okay, so my next question for the two of you would be, who are your target audience? Who are the target audience in your work? So I believe because you speak in, or you write in different dialects. You speak as in English and you speak in Bisaya. Then who are the target audience at the moment? And naabot na ba natin yun? And have we reached to that level yet? Do you think we could still do something to reach these target audience?
Okay, the target audience, I didn't even expect that pala. Like, in my generation, we were repressed because I was the generation of martial law and we were not really allowed to speak freely. But I was surprised that the millennials and the Gen Z, they were so hungry for the history. And when I talk to my friends, they all tell me their daughters are like really interested in my book. They wanted to borrow my book, they wanted to read. And there were like some bookstores that was in Cebu in Dumaguete too. And I was surprised that they saw like radical, but they were so curious. They really like, they're all like, there was a book signing in one of the Dumaguete. It was completely packed. And they were young people, you know. I was very like shocked about it, you know, like they're really like thirst, hungry for the history. They say, Tita, is it really true? You know, they read this and that, and there's just so much information, and they want to know. They're really like eyes wide open. And then when I go online, because I also have a good network online, you know, and I have like also millennials from abroad, you know, like they were from Japan, and they were reaching out to me like. I was like, what do you know about America? Like, you weren't even born yet, you know, what the heck, you know? And he's like, yeah, but our parents, they talk about it, you know? So we heard so many stories and they were starting to ask me, so that's interesting. It was also very new for me.
In my case, I think this is the right time for me to open up about translation because it's something very crucial in Cebuano literature. There's a need really for a group of Cebuano writers to be official translators because, for example, I want to publish a book and I will give it to a publisher, let's just say Ateneo or let's just say UP Press. It's necessary that they will request for a translation of the work. And it's a different art. When you make a literary work like short story or poetry, it's a genre. But when you do translation, it's another genre. And it's a very difficult task to create that particular translation. That translation itself is the most crucial thing to do right now. That's why we need a group of translators. And to answer Ms. Cindy's question, so the target audience is literally everybody, particularly the Cebuanos. But if you want to go outside, the only key for that one is to strengthen our translation or the group of people who are doing translations.
This reminds me, there's this common mistake in writing in Tagalog or in Filipino. You know, even Filipino writers, they're also making mistakes when it comes to writing in Filipino. Like they would interchange the use of noun and noun, you know that. So what more if it's writing in Cebuano dialect? Okay, so my next question would be, if one wants to dive or start to dive into the Cebuano literature, where do you think should they start? And the follow-up question is, what would be ways, yeah, to expose more of Cebuano literature?
Actually, the Cebuano writers right now are integrating technology. You have Kapistat. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Kapistat, but it's a literary online platform created by Mr. Michael Obineta. He created this website wherein you have all the list of Cebuano authors, particularly poets, and you can read Cebuano poems there for free. We also have the Basa Bala Kanuna. It's a podcast where you can listen to contemporary Cebuano writers. And we have I mentioned this one a while ago, which is the Cebuano Study Center at the University of San Carlos. So we have all the books that you want to read, all the manuscript that you want to read, if you want to venture to read literary text in Cebuano language. But if you want to learn about the Cebuano Study Center will also be one of the keys. But if you really want to learn the language, I can give you 3 tips for this because I started with that one. Instead of going to mass in English, you go to the mass using the Cebuano language. Instead of reading English newspapers, you read Super Balita, you read those newspapers because they can be one of the best materials for you. And then you do it slowly by slowly. You do it slowly. You don't need to force yourself because if you force to love the language and learn Cebuano, it's tiring. Even myself, I did that one. So as much as possible, you do it little by little, slowly, and then eventually you can fall in love. And when you write, for example, you're writing already in Cebuano, after you write, you read it aloud. So you can feel the music of the Cebuano. It's very beautiful. So I think that's it. Just to summarize it, Cebuano is like the center, you go to the mass, you read books, and then the best way really to that for this one is that you also look for a group of communities. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Bakhalat Cebu, Bakhalat Mindanao, and Women in Literary and Arts, which is here in Cebu. You can ask them, there are organizations for it. There are writers writing also in Cebu.
I think to add to that, I have a friend who does Visayan rap. Junior Tila Pudoy is a good friend of mine, so that helps to, and of course, I up with, like ADD, or you are like the Chamber of Commerce and Lions or Rotary, so it takes a village. It's not just a one-man show. It really takes a team to really, and then also your resources, to expose the Cebuano literature. But they have to be proud of it because at my generation we were repressed. They look up to people who spoke English fluently, and also like I'm talking about the U.S. When people migrate to the U.S. They let their children they don't encourage their children to speak the dialect, Cebuano or Tagalog, because they want their children to grow up with the American language, because they, again, like they laugh at it, like they used to laugh at my mother when she was really trying hard to speak Cebuano. So,
So we discussed a few subjects of Cebuano literature. So memoirs, about the indigenous people, the poetry, and of course like the Cebuano history. Meron pa ba tayong hindi na-touch na mga subjects in Cebuano literature?
Actually, this is the perfect time to merge literature and other genre. For example, not genre, but let's just say a topic. For example, literature and architecture. Like for example, in the downtown areas in Cebu, we call that Parian, there are a lot of old movie houses there, like the Oriente. We can write stories about it to preserve also the architecture. Or another one, do you know that there are a lot of Chinese temples in the downtown area, even uptown areas of Cebu? The migration of the Chinese and Taiwanese when they went here to Cebu. And we have a strong relationship with the Chinese communities here in our area. We can write stories about that one. It's not, the issue here is not to look for the stories, but to focus first home. Home first. And then the moment you can see all those possible resources, then you will be, wow, there are a lot of things that we are not writing. Yet, ay, marami pa pala, napakarami pa pala.
I want to add that my aunt is here. She's 90 years old, and she carries a lot of Cebuano history. She could really, you should record her because she has a lot. She's a threshold of Cebuano history. She knows who is who in Cebu, and all of the history of the streets and all the people behind the buildings. Also, I wanna also add like the folklore of the Cebuano folklore too. That would be an interesting thing. And lately, me and my daughter and my husband were working on a book, and we're writing about siblings. Do you guys know about siblings? So yeah, that's it's on the works.
So I think this is also the perfect time to talk about Miss Delia Horado's book, Tacloban and a Rose. So I am just flashing it here because her book is very in demand online. So unfortunately, her book is not available right now. So, but you can check this book out sa Shopee, sa Lazada. Tacloban and a Rose. It's actually a book about her growing up with Miss Imelda Martin. Miss Delia, is it okay to call you on stage? Just talk a little bit about the book.
Well, it's rather hard to insist that a 90-year-old woman can write a book. I cannot believe it myself. And I think the good Lord was very good. He gave me a clear mind, and I did not alone, or I was able to do it. Very good. Anyway, what is really inspired me was Mitos. Thank God, if she can do it. And I knew now where to go. She found a publisher. I was inspired. Okay. At Logan and a Rose is really, let's say, three-fourths Imelda. She won the beauty contest, the Rose of Tacloban. So I reversed it. Because Tacloban, where I was born, although we are from Suson, others from Nueva Ecija, my mother from Bulacan. Anyway, Tacloban is a special place. It was liberated early. I talked about the American landing. And Imelda, we were classmates. It's a redeeming factor. Well, she's a very good lady, very generous. Because it's all political. And I think I was very lucky. I think there is no woman in our country who has gone through her heights and depths. There is no other person in the Philippines who has had love with Gaddafi, with Fidel Castro, with the President of the United States. And when she goes to a country, it is the presidents, the leaders. And I think you should be proud of them. Instead, a lot of people try to put them down. Even in Tacloban, when I tell them, what can we do? But that's really Filipino. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I hope I can, I don't know what to do next. What inspired me was really Mitos because he said, I can open door. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Mitos. I think it's also good to mention that Miss Delia is Miss Mitos' auntie. And okay, and then, and they actually like the same subject, but with different views. Yes, that's okay. That's okay. So, so Miss Mito's father, if you read the Shorts of Time, actually it's about her father being advocating during the martial law. And then Miss Delia, her auntie, who writes about her friendship with Imelda. So it's good to see different views that we have. We have more political views there, I believe. We have more books about politics over there on our table. Okay. So I think there's this one segment for this Migos to read an excerpt about book, from your book, Quiet and Wisdom. And then after that, we'll go with our next
Again, what you said, actually my dad and Tadalia, they're very, very close. So you can see that you can still belong to the opposite sides of the pole, but and still be family and love one another. Okay, and thanks again for coming. And during the pandemic, I started blogging because what else can you do, right? I mean, you were locked up. And I started to go inwards, but luckily we lived in Albual during that time, so we were able to go out a little bit. But I started blogging. I felt blogging, and I really suggest blogging for everybody because it really honed my craft as a writer, and it was really fulfilling to get feedback, And I want to read a part, an excerpt of Quarantine Wisdom. We're launching it today as well. And, we just celebrated Thanksgiving in the US. And even if we don't celebrate Thanksgiving here in the Philippines, there's always something that, we can be grateful for, And that's why I want to read an excerpt about Thanksgiving. Okay. And, the time when Thanksgiving happened, when the pilgrims came, pilgrims came to the U.S. and Massachusetts, and they were met by the Indians, and we had this exchange. It reminded me of Ferdinand Magellan. Marcos, when he came to Cebu and had this, exchange with Raja Humabon, and then the Blood Compact, and even if Thanksgiving happened there in the U.S., that's what I see or feel, Thanksgiving here in the Philippines. And I'll read an excerpt of that. Okay, Magellan arrived with his 5 ships in the name of King Philip of Portugal, and he was met by Raja Humabon and his queen. That day, 800 natives were baptized, a significant feat for Magellan. Raja Humabon and Magellan sealed their brotherhood in a blood compact and exchanged gifts. While Magellan gave Raja Humabon the cross and Santo Niño, who later became our patron saint, Raja Humabon bequeathed Magellan his treasury of gold. These historical events are enacted in Cebu yearly, concluding in what can be described as a Filipino Mardi Gras. It's one of our biggest holidays of the year called Sinulog. Suffice it to say that there are many versions of this monumental event, but being a history major in college colors my perception. This was my takeaway on the history of Cebu in a nutshell, and how it informs my view of conquest. For me, Thanksgiving is a time for family, gratitude, and it's an anodyne for grief. Whenever I feel down, maybe an intermittent wave of the blues, I have a mini Thanksgiving. I start counting my blessing, and it makes me feel better by the end of the day. This is one of the reasons why I chose to come home and live in the Philippines after living many years abroad in Germany and in the US. I am confronted with poverty around me daily, but how can I not be grateful for the many blessings I have when I see those so much less fortunate than myself demonstrating gratitude? It makes my struggles seem trivial by comparison. Little annoyances like the toothpaste being pressed from the middle of the tooth, or if the toilet paper roll is stuck the wrong way around, pale when compared to real problems. I live next to a fishing village. That's when I live in Wawa. And when I greet the day with the first moments of sunrise, coffee in hand, they also welcome the sun with warm smiles, and that enlivens my day. We all have troubles. This is the human condition, but many of my neighbors deal with life and death survival issues, and they still manage to beam me a smile and share laughter. To me, these are nuggets of gold. I'm inspired by those more fortunate who have achieved so much in this life, and I'm doubly inspired knowing those less fortunate share their wisdom with me, highlighting what's important in life. Most often it's family. I'm not always able, but we help where we can, when we can. Humanity is truly amazing in whatever state you are in. I'm grateful knowing the glass is full, seeing the sunsets, strolls on the beach shore during low tide, and hearing our puppies' excited yell. Most of the time, I find that I am grateful and content. Let me know what you are thankful about. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Cindy, and thank you, NBDB.
Happy Thanksgiving. Okay, so with that, we're concluding the first segment of the 80 Podcast. Thank you, Mitos, Suson, and Velasquez. Okay, so now we're going to prepare for our second talk, which is about Cebuano Estina. We have Mr. Celestino Macachor and Mr. Paul Patricio. Here now, not we have for Mr. Celestino.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Those who are here this morning. Following these two ladies with very robust academic